This interview was recorded last year. I have a backlog of a few other videos too. So please note that our references to an upcoming Totally in Tango event are now outdated. The interview itself, though, is not outdated in any way. Actually, in some ways, it seems like it came from the future. Enjoy. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Lucas.
Hi, I'm excited to have you here on
Thank you
my
for the
show
invitation.
today. Yes, and I think this is going to be another interesting topic. But for those who don't know you, can you maybe give us a short introduction of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Paula. I'm from Malaga, Spain, and I live in Malaga here with my husband. We have a tango school, La Llave del Tango. That was already a project in Argentina of my husband Enrique, and we continued here together. And our most known features that we teach and dance double role tango.
Yes. Okay, and um, okay, maybe just give us a short summary as well. Like, how did you come into tango? Because I think it's quite interesting. Like, I saw that you are from Malaga in the south of Spain, but you actually lived abroad.
Yeah,
Now you've come back to Malaga, even though you said something like I didn't never plan to, or I did not necessarily plan to come back
I
home.
didn't
And
want to.
no, no,
I
okay, it's
didn't
even
want
okay,
to.
okay, okay. But now you're back home and you're teaching tango there, so it's quite an interesting story. Can you maybe explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I was living in Germany. It was 2009, and I had just had a relationship that was broken, and I felt bad. So two friends of mine were going to Argentina, and I decided to join like spontaneously. And I went there without any expectations. I just joined the trip. I just did what they wanted to do. And at the end of the trip, after 1 month traveling throughout Argentina, we went to Buenos Aires, and I said, "Okay, I'm going to take a few classes of tango," and I did, and without having any prejudices or anything, I went to a milonga, and my actual husband asked me to dance in my first milonga. So I say I'm easy. I married the first guy that asked me in a milonga many years after, and that was my first contact with tango. Although I had friends in Germany who already danced tango, but I hadn't. And when I came back in Germany, I was very excited and I continued to dance and
Okay,
until today.
okay. And so, how did you move back to Malaga, or did you move to Buenos Aires because you said you had a boyfriend then?
Yeah, I had a life in Germany, but at a certain point, I didn't want to anymore. I was already dancing tango. I started in 2009, and I continued in a school. My first maestra was Laura Cairo, that has a very well known school in Munich. And I was traveling back and forth and going at least once a year in Argentina. But then I had the chance to go to Bolivia for a development program of the German government, and I went there. And even though I had contact with Enrique in Argentina, always it was in Bolivia where we get, actually got together. And after Bolivia, we decided to move together to Argentina. And after a year in Argentina, we decided to start a family, and we decided that Spain was a better choice than Argentina. And I think the news that we are getting every day from Argentina say that it was a good choice.
Yes, but did you start anything professional with tango in Argentina, or how were you living there?
I started actually teaching tango in Germany because my maestra Laura Cairo wanted me to help her, and I started teaching while I was in Munich. So in 2010, 11, I started helping her in Munich. And then in Bolivia, my job was this development program, but I taught together with Enrique a little bit on the side. And then when I moved to Argentina, Enrique already had the project La Llave del Tango, that was a guest house and also a place for professional couples to teach and rehearse. And I just joined the project that we took to Malaga, then not as a guest house, but as a school.
Yes, but you worked you had that guest house, like you worked on that together with him first, or did you
I
move
mean,
immediately to?
the Argentinian year was a sabbatical year for me.
Okay, okay,
I
okay.
was with him. It was his job, his project, and I took the year to actually learn the many things that Enrique has to teach. I have to say, because I met him and I had been dancing a different kind of tango that I decided to unlearn.
Okay.
I decided to go to zero again and relearn tango from a different point of view. So I took this year to came down and rebuild myself in many ways, and also in tango.
So why was that necessary?
Yeah, it was very necessary, because I had been taught in the traditional way. I'm not saying it's bad, but it wasn't working for me. Like I was taught the cruce, and I never knew when I had to cross. And I took classes that were actually thought for leaders and never for followers. We were there like a training doll or something like that. I felt that way. I'm so sorry. I'm not
Yeah.
criticizing anybody. But when I met Enrique and I told him first, I didn't know I had to cross. And he was like, no, we have to do something about it.
Yes. So what did you change? What did you look for there in Buenos Aires?
As I said, we had the place because we already had the rooms with the mirror and the good floor and everything. So on one side, we worked every day. It was very important for me to start stretching, like stretching every day, because people don't know the improvement in tango don't always come from repeating a movement until it comes out well. You have to improve your range of movements, and for that, sometimes you have to do something else, like improve your physical condition, and in my case was stretching for the turns and everything. So Enrique, like we made like a program, and I was stretching like an hour every day, and then we did technica, and technica, it wasn't followers technique, or it was technica, like tango technica, like very very theoretical and very working alone, like not dancing but working in the technica for oneself. And then we used to dance a little bit, like 50 minutes, and I was always mad because I wanted to dance more. It was like, no, you have to improve your technica. It was very hard. It was tough, and I got
So
mad a lot.
yes, but he was your teacher essentially.
He was my mentor. He was my
Mentor.
maestro.
Okay.
I have to
Yeah.
say
Okay.
that. Yeah,
So
what I teach now in my leaders course for women, I have to say I learned it from him. He's a good teacher, and he's a very good follower as well.
so was he already a good follower when you met him?
Yeah, sure. He had been
So
doing that for 20 years. He's
he had
54 now.
he had been dancing or teaching. What did you say?
He had been doing this, dancing,
Okay.
teaching for many years before. Although in Argentina, teaching wasn't his professional main job. It was this house that it was called La Llave del Tango. It was a guest house, and it was a place for professionals to teach and rehearse. Like we are proud to say, the world tango champions of the last 15 to 20 years, many of them had been our clients or Enrique's clients in La Llave del Tango.
Okay. Okay. But how come did he did also know how to follow?
No, he was a very good follower.
Yeah. So how come?
How
Why
come
did he?
he was interested in following from the beginning? He has had this different set of mindset all his life. So he just, it's not something that comes with the fashion of following for men or leading for women. He already had it. He he has this way of seeing tango that is a little bit different from the, and this is a pro and also a con when you are in a traditional community.
Yes. Yes, for sure. Well, I find it's really interesting that you had such a nurturing experience with him because he already knew so much,
Yep.
and you could learn a ton from that. So it's great. Like it's a great source of knowledge if you yeah.
Yeah, many people that come to us came with problems, like people that could dance and were like, I dance since, I don't know, I have been dancing for 10 or 20 or 15 years, and I have this problem and I don't know how to solve them. And then with Enrique, I saw him taking this person, making a diagnosis, and helping these people to unlearn and relearn movements. and especially unlearned things. Sometimes you have learned things that were okay for a while, but at a certain point they are not okay anymore. You have to take some things away in order to move forward.
And he was already doing that in Buenos Aires.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And I suppose it was hard for him, like back in the day, like it was not acceptable for men to be a follower in the normal milonga setting.
Yeah.
So was that like something he did like underground or like at informal practicas or so yeah, I just find it really interesting how like it's quite long ago how someone achieved that, managed to do that while the conditions weren't exactly friendly to double roll dancing.
Think that back at the time when I met Enrique in 2009, he took me to La Marshall, this
Ah,
queer milonga in Buenos Aires, very well known. And he went there and he used to dance with men and women, even though he wasn't queer. But he liked this kind of, especially this equality of the roles. This is the most important thing for him and for us. Like it's not about feminism or machism, or it's just about the balance in the roles. Like if you think about, if you are pro that in life, you have to be pro that in tango. Like you have to agree with the equality of roles, I think. Like
yes.
I'm not sure how people can balance this, being agreeing with equality in life and then not agreeing with that in tango. Is for me a little bit hard to understand. And when I met Enrique and I heard about all these ideas, it like very quickly made a click with me. Like I connected with this way of thinking right away.
Because you said you were also looking for a different way of dancing tango.
Yeah, because it wasn't working for me. I was going to the milonga. The classes were thought and were taught for men, and a woman could hardly take the lead of a man. I just saw a couple of women doing that, and it wasn't at that time. It wasn't normal. And at the beginning, you don't know. You just take the classes, and you think it's okay. You think it's the way it is, the way it should be somehow.
But did you feel like there was a lack of instruction for you, or did you not?
Sure, of course.
But did you also not like the concept in general of
I mean, even as a teacher, when I started helping my maestra, uh, which I really admire, and she did a great job in the tango community of Munich. But I was the assistant of my male partner when I taught. He got more money than me for the classes,
Oh,
for
really?
example.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a really unequal situation, and I thought I could do more. I thought I understood tango. I didn't want to be just there to be someone who followed his lead, because I didn't have the chance to explain things, even for the followers, because everything was focused on the leader, like what the leader should do and how the leader should do it, and the woman should somehow follow, better or worse.
Yes.
This
Uh,
is my impression.
but did that also mean you disliked the like the women being confined to the following role in general, or was it just that the education was not good?
I think the whole concept of dividing roles, I find it wrong. I mean, we always say tango is one language. You don't have a leader's language and a follower's language. You learn the language of tango, and then you can lead or follow. And in a perfect world, you would be doing this like alternatively throughout the tango. It's like a conversation. It's like a dialogue. And the one that is responsible is just the one that has the direction, that sees the pista. But if you take a turn, it might be the follower, the one that is leading, because it's the one that has the responsibility, that sees the pista, the direction. That's it. People don't really get it yet, many people. But it's like this. People want to be leader or follower. We are now getting women to accept being leaders and few men accepting being followers. But actually the objective is that people just dance with each other and they agree not to be followed or lead, just to have a dialogue and a conversation. And I think it's very interesting because my university career, I'm a philologist. Like I study language and languages, and I see tango as a language. I also have a project to someday to write something about tango, like the grammar of tango, like what you need for tango as a language. And if you reduce it to a very basic elements, it's not that complex. And it's just one language. When you really think about it, you shouldn't be reduced to be a follower or a leader. And I also have a post that I post in Facebook once in a while, and I say, would you have chosen to be bilingual, to study just one language if you had had the chance to be bilingual? Like, why? If you had had the chance to be bilingual in school, would you have chosen not to? Why do that? Why reduce people to one role? And especially, why reduce people to one role related to the gender? It's a little bit absurd if you think about it.
Yes, yes. But there are like I've talked to some women who have told me like I would absolutely never want to lead.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the choice. But they should have the choice.
okay.
I mean, you don't have the choice if you don't know.
Yes. Yes.
So in our classes, we never force anybody to do anything. But when students arrive and they know, we don't tell them, okay, we dance both roles. No, they arrive and we teach them. And from day one, they dance both roles because we don't speak about roles. They just dance. And there is one thing called abrazo, embrace, but they can lead or follow in the embrace they choose. Of course, we teach them what's the expected way of having an embrace, because then they have to go to the milongas. And then if someone say, okay, I don't want to dance, to lead in the milonga, that's all right. That's okay. And even some people say, I don't want to lead in class, and say, that's okay, but you're going to dance less than the others. That's it. I think the freedom lays in knowledge. Like if you know, then you can choose. If you
Yes.
can't choose,
Yeah, so it's like it's a bit complicated then because if someone really thinks like I would never want to lead and I have not tried, like women, for example, that like that's kind of complicated because then they have like like they draw a conclusion already before they're actually ready to draw that conclusion because they've never really fully tried. Um, but don't you think there's something like something that people say sometimes, for example, women enjoy like being a follower in tango because nowadays they often like in normal life they're often like in leading roles, like for example at work, and then for them it's like that they really like being able to not have that control for a change in tango.
if that's true, maybe men could enjoy being followers. They have been so long in the lead that they might enjoy being followers for a while. Maybe. I mean, it depends. It's not gender related. It
Okay.
depends. I don't think it's a feminine thing. I just think it's a way that society has put. It's a place a society has put us in. I don't think that is gender related at all. My opinion is that now there are few men in tango because they have a heavy burden with tango. Like they are expected to dance well, to embrace well, to ask women for dance, to lead them. And women dance always better. And men are sometimes, I think, they are afraid. And that's why are fewer men in the communities. And they take less classes and everything. Also because they are less, they are fewer than the women, and they don't have to improve that much in order to dance a lot in the milongas. But also because they carry a heavy burden, and we don't speak enough about that. Like men has, and not all men are happy with this burden, with this always being in charge, with this always having the responsibility. And there are women that want that. Why not share?
Yes.
I see many men in the milonga that enjoy a lot being followers. We had a student coming from North Spain that came to us without any prejudice, and he came from a very traditional community, and he started being a follower, and he enjoyed it a lot. I don't think if he's doing that now in his community, but he enjoyed it a lot, like being a follower for a change, and
Yes.
to learn how to, like, being a follower is very nice. I like both.
Yes.
Sometimes being led by a good leader, just close the eyes and feel the music. It's wonderful,
Yes.
but not all the time, and especially not being obligated to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. 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 It's the same for me. Like I really like I like my own like leading role because that's been my traditional role. That's what I know the most about. I enjoy that more now that I can also follow with
Sure.
like yeah, it's just it's like you're only doing 50% of tango, and often the problem for men is that like they can only lead, or they're only supposed to lead or whatever. But then they're always kind of dancing with themselves because leading is more like, you are doing everything.
Yeah,
And then of course there are accents varying, with the women you dance with. Like the dance is a bit different, of course, but you're still always doing your own thing, your own steps. It's always the same style. And it's just, I've come across that situation in Buenos Aires that I've talked about women with this, and they said like the men who come here to visit, so not just the foreigners, but also like men from Argentina, like other parts from Argentina who come to visit Buenos Aires to dance. They always need at least one day off because they feel at some point they feel so saturated, and the
yeah,
women they just want to keep dancing and dancing. And I think that probably has to do something with, of course, like women, like traditional followers in tango, like traditionally they have problems, like there are too many women, and it can be hard to dance with the guys they really want to dance with. But still, like every dance they dance, like they follow someone else's system, and it's really exciting to be able to 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 kind of like join someone else's system. And
sure.
yeah.
And men at the milonga, they should have the possibility, like, to just to rest, being asked to dance, and just enjoy what someone else has to invite you to. For example, I think this is the objective. It's not that much about empowering women, which is also important in the society we live in, but getting, like sharing the burden, or the difficult parts of dancing tango.
Yes, yes. So often an obstacle for men is that other men don't really want to dance with men unless they like discover that they're fine with it and then they enjoy it. But traditionally, let's put it like that. Like for me, women are my biggest audience for following. And then there are some men who are okay with it, but you also get like a feeling of resistance from other men. So what's your uh have you been able to do anything with that as a teacher?
Yeah, because I think it has to do with the kind of tango you teach or you dance. I mean, there are no wrong or right ways of dancing tango, because tango is a popular dance. So there's no right or wrong. We always say you have to know, and then you have to choose. But you have to know what your choices imply. So if you
Yes.
choose a close embrace, there are things you are not going to be able to do. But you have to know that. It's not that it's wrong. It's just it doesn't go with this type of tango you're dancing. If you dance tango nuevo, you are not going to be able to do some things. So usually when you dance both roles, it doesn't have to be like this. But or when two men are dancing together, they are most likely not going to dance in a close embrace, probably, because they are going to both dance in flats, for example, and they are going to maintain a more open embrace. That's my opinion. And then it's not that easy to control what your partner does. The partner, the follower, has more control about his, let's say his, because he's a man, his body. And some leaders, let's say men, want to control what the follower do, because
Okay.
they feel secure when they control. They want the follower to do what he wants to do. And I'm not making it up. Men said that to me.
Okay.
Why is she not doing what I want her to do? Like, because she's a different person than you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So she might not have understood, or maybe she doesn't want to, or I don't know. So I think that's the thing with men dancing with men. But once they try, they actually find out it's very fun. It's a lot of fun dancing with another man. The energy is different because they both have a lot of power and energy and a lot of connection with the floor, since they are most likely dancing in flats. So if you are dancing in flats, you don't need that much leaning forward on your partner because you are already connected with the floor. So you can have a good connection in an open embrace. Think that embrace and floor are parallel. If you are in flats, your embrace can be more open, and you still are connected. And this was what which you said. This is what usually happens when men dance with each other. And
Okay.
when women dance with each other, I dance with heels and without, but I feel better when I dance in my flats, also with women.
But you do that in close embrace as well.
Yeah, both. But you can also dance in close embrace without having to lean on the other one.
Yes.
You don't have to lean. You
No.
have to lean when you are dancing in heels or in flats, and you don't have the whole foot in contact with the floor when you dance on your tiptoes. And some people do it with the flats, like flats and then tiptoes, and some other people do it with the heels. Like with the heels, you are already on your tiptoes, but some people are on heels and then also on the tiptoes. And then you have no connection with the floor. You have to be really leaned forward on your partner in order to have some some balance and some connection.
Yes. So, but do you actually also see people in your community, like men who dance in a close embrace with each other?
Men, we have here very few men that dance with each other. Very few.
Okay. Okay.
I cannot say, because other than my husband Enrique and some of our students, I see very few men dancing with each other. Very few.
Okay. And is it also very few men in general who follow, or is it
We have many more women than men in class.
yeah.
Many. Like the balance is almost nothing to a lot. Like we have few men. And but this is general in classes, and that's why other schools in town are also starting to teach leading for women, because if they don't do that, they are not going to be able to teach because we don't have enough men. Things are changing, and either men accept that or I don't know.
But why do you think there's so few men, or are you just referring to something that's true everywhere in tango? Or is it more like do you have the do you face a worse problem in Malaga than in Germany, for example, or is it like comparable?
I think that there are fewer people taking tango classes in Spain than in the rest of Europe.
Okay.
And we have thought a lot about that and talked a lot about that. We are not sure about why. I think the community in Spain is older, because tango is connected in Spain with other dances like vals and rumba, paso doble, other dances that were connected to the older generation, people that were retired and started dancing. And that's why in Spain, encuentros milongueros are so popular, because people that are retired and have money and have time, they travel throughout Spain and Europe, and they meet to dance in a very traditional way. And the younger community, either they don't have money or don't have time, or are not appealed by this traditional way of dancing, or women don't want to waste their time knowing that they are going to dance little because there are few men. And if you don't accept this traditional way of dancing, you are not accepted in the communities sometimes. And I think that these might be some of the reasons why I see the classes full of people in Germany or in Poland or in Italy or in France. It is for us here difficult to full classes. It's a pity, but it's the way
Yes. So
the way it is.
yes, let's go back to some history because we haven't really talked what you did once you moved to Malaga. So that's kind of connected to giving classes, of course. So you were in Argentina and you took this sabbatical, and then you moved to you together. You decided to move to Spain because you would have a better life there, I guess, like a more stable life at least.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you founded your school and you gave it the same name as the place you had he had in Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
your husband, and so then you founded your own school. So and of course, like now you have a double role school. So how did this all came to be?
We came here with a project in this sabbatical year. He was working and I was helping him and also relearning my tango. And we that year we took for like getting the foundations of what we wanted to do. We didn't really know the Spain community. I knew the German community, and but I didn't really. We had the chance to dance a little bit here in Spain, but not that much. And when we arrived, we got to know the milongas and a little bit the people. And when we found a place, we just opened. And it was the first school, like real, like a school with a place.
Really?
There were teachers that were
Okay.
teaching in other places, rented places, or even in. It is very popular in Spain to teach in bars.
Oh.
You know, bars are the foundation of the Spanish society.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we have so many bars, and it was common in Spain to have the milonga in a bar and to have the class before the milonga in the bar.
Yeah, I've seen something like that. Yeah.
So which is very uncommon for other countries. But we didn't really like that idea because we thought people are not going to feel, they have to be able to feel safe and comfortable to make mistakes, to make mistakes,
Yeah.
um, to just try and error. Like it was too social. Like the classes in the bars, you are there and you are being observed,
Yeah.
and people are already in the milonga clothes, and they are there just this is a social event. And we wanted the class to be a safe place where people could come and dance in socks if they want to, or just to do something new that maybe could be funny, or I don't know, just to feel safe. And that's why Enrique had this idea, and he was very very worried about that he wanted a safe place for the people to take classes. And we were very proud of being the first tango school with a place, and to be able to have the milonga every week,
Hmm.
because milongas were organized in bars, but when it was like the carnival or Easter or the summer, these bars had other events and the milonga couldn't take place. So there were few milongas on Saturday, because Saturday is the big days for the bars. So we arrived and we said, okay, we have our own place. We can organize a milonga every Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Why not? Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a
Because we have the
smart.
place.
Yeah, yeah,
We decide.
yeah,
And we could have drinks. I mean, we people had to pay an entrance, but then the drinks were a very low price because it wasn't our income. I mean, we don't live from the beers and the colas we sell in the milonga. It's just a service. So it was cheaper than other places, and we could organize birthdays and any event we wanted to. We could make a milonga on New Year's Eve or whatever we wanted. It was really, I think it was refreshing for the community. With the time, there are now one more school with the same concept as ours, which we are happy about. Even though it's is how do you say that, currency, no, competence, no, it's like
Competition.
Yeah, it's competition, but this is a sign that the community is growing, and there are now two places in Malaga, like two schools with their own place, which is really nice. And then other few milongas that take place in bars.
So that still happens.
Still happens. Some people don't want to rent a place, or and they just arrange with a bar one day in a week, and they do.
But is
And
that
people
done?
like it. People like
Okay.
it because in Spain people like bars a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. But is then like the bar that night, is it only a space for tango dancers or does anyone just come in?
Anyone can come in, but not anyone can come in the place of the milonga.
Ah, okay.
Like there should be bars with a bigger space that they reserve for the
Ah, yeah.
milonga.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
when we arrived to Malaga, at the very beginning, we didn't have our place. And we organized a weekly milonga in a very nice place that was a market, a new market that had been restored. And it was in the center of the city, and had a place with a really nice floor. And we talked to the owners, and they agreed with us. And we were making a milonga every Wednesday, because Wednesday was like a dead day in the middle of the week.
Yeah,
That was a really nice milonga, and people liked it a lot because it was kind of a bar, kind of a social place.
yeah,
People in Spain like that.
yes, yes. But they also like your own place
They do.
because
Yeah.
they discovered what the positive like the positive aspects are about that, I suppose. Like the
Well,
advantages.
what people say about our milonga is that it's the energy. Like, we don't have a traditional milonga, let's face it. I don't want to sell myself, but you can be traditional. Like, it's not about who you are, it's who we are. We invite everybody. You can dance whatever you want in my milonga. We are going to have a ronda, a normal one, a very respectful one. We have like low lights, we have a bar, we have traditional music with some tandas that are not that traditional, but it's all tango. We dance a chacarera or two when we want. And I mean, it's traditional in a way, but the energy is really nice. Like, you feel welcome, and you don't have to be traditional. I mean, if this not traditional way bothers you, then then maybe it's not your place. But we want to deal with different kinds of people. This is our call, and people feel good. I mean, for people that want to be really traditional, there are these encuentros where you just dance music from the 30s and the 40s, and you have to dance in a close embrace, and men or women are separated, and you can only ask to dance with the cabeceo and mirada. But people have to know that this doesn't come from Buenos Aires. This is an European thing. This is a thing of some milongas in Buenos Aires, like El Beso. And not even them are so strict about it. But I have been to encuentros where it was so strict. Like, you had to stick to these rules, otherwise you would be warned. I don't say it shouldn't exist. There should be everything for every public. That is not my thing.
No, no, no. But like what aspects bother you the most about that situation?
About the situation, I mean, to have to be separated, for example, this is like educating kids for me. Like, you men in one side of the room, women on the other side of the room. You cannot go and ask, like, get over it. Go and ask a woman if you want to. Why not? Just because some people don't dare to do it, everybody should do it with the cabeceo and mirada. I mean, they say, okay, it's more respectful to do it with the mirada. Yeah, but maybe some people are not familiar with this. This is a very Argentinian thing, the cabeceo and mirada. It has a lot to do with body language. And not everybody has this body language in Europe. We are forcing people to do I see people doing this cabeceo and mirada, and they are just struggling with that. It's not the way. I remember, this is a very funny story. With my husband, when we arrived in Malaga, one day I said to him, "Why are you looking at all the women in the street?" And he said, like, I'm not just looking at women. I looked at everybody, and I put a little bit more of attention, and actually people were greeting him because people are not used to this mirada thing. He looks at people. It's an Argentinian thing. We are not used to this. So it's a very Argentinian thing. And we are now being forced to do it, everybody, like it was a requirement. Shouldn't be.
This cabeceo idea is often sold like that women have more freedom to refuse like a dance because it can be intimidating if someone comes up to you like that. That's often the explanation behind why people.
Again, responsibility. If you cannot say no, you should take responsibility about that. If someone comes to me and asks me to dance, I should be allowed to say no in a friendly, warming, nicely way. Why not? If you don't want to, if you want to make a cabeceo, it's also fine. But some women are not even getting the cabeceos because they are not used to it.
Yes, yeah, it can also be difficult for women to look at strangers like that.
I remember we had a Canadian student in Bolivia who said, "I cannot say no. I want to learn to say no." And this is one of the things we teach in tango. Also, when you're dancing, you should be able to say no. For example, my example, I'm going to put myself as an example. I don't do volcadas. I don't do them because most of the times they are not well led and they cause me like pain in my back. So I don't do them. I just don't go to the volcada. Some men think I didn't understand. I didn't understand the volcada, and they try again until I have to say, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to the volcada." I mean, I do a small volcada. I go a little bit to the volcada just to correspond with the invitation. But sometimes they think I didn't understand and they go again and again and again. You should be able not to accept one invitation in tango. Tango is all the time about an invitation.
So essentially, it would be good for women who don't like getting strangers like in tango, like ask them to dance verbally. They should actually, instead of using cabeceo, they should actually learn to just say no in a polite but clear way.
I think this works different for everybody.
Okay.
I don't think it should be a requirement, anything. Like, I like cabeceo. I use it. I think it's nice. But I think we have to be generous with other people that maybe don't understand that, don't know how to do it, are new in the tango world and they want to dance. I mean, as I said, I do it. I think it's nice. It's a good thing, but it's a very Argentinian thing. You have to know this body language to actually. Sometimes people think they are doing cabeceo and they are stalking you, and it is really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Men are looking at you like this, or women. My husband Enrique sometimes tell me I have to ask this woman to dance because she's staring at me like she's penetrating me with with her mirada. So it's kind of weird. Like they are traditions and things that come from the culture, and cabeceo and mirada are such things.
Yes. Uh,
I think generosity has a lot to do with this, like being generous, being open, being friendly. Rejecting, you have to learn to reject with love,
yes.
not
Yes.
to invite with love, but to reject with love. This is an art. And
Yes.
maybe I reject you today, and I'm not going to reject you tomorrow. I mean, don't make a cross on me just because I reject you once. I might dance with you tomorrow. You don't know what happens with me today, and I should express that not today because maybe I'm not feeling well, or I just don't want to dance with you today. Maybe I want to dance with you another tanda, different one.
Yes.
No, it's difficult. Relationship
Yes.
is difficult,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
tango is
Yeah.
a lot about relationships.
Yes. Yes. Well, it's quite an original topic. I love it, and I love it when people understand that tango has certain like cultural origins that are hard to separate from it. And I think it's a good thing that you actually came back to Spain with the knowledge about what Argentine tango is really about, I guess, because
Yeah,
it always takes up a different form in different countries. And um, yeah. So, did you immediately also start to do double role teaching? Did you want to, so you had your own school and you got your own building. So did you also want to stimulate double role dancing from the start, or was that something that came later?
no, it was we started in when we were in Argentina. Actually, it started when we were in Bolivia, living together there. And that was his sabbatical. He took a sabbatical in
Ah,
Bolivia with me, and I took a sabbatical in Argentina in Argentina with him. So we had these 2 years actually to build a strong foundation. And then we started dancing both roles at the beginning. My leading was not that good, but it has been developing. And actually now I also dance with another woman, Begoña, that is a student from Enrique. And we do these workshops together for women, and we dance among women, which is a very, very interesting concept. Because some women that want to learn to lead don't want to learn with beginners because they already have a tango language. And it's cruel to put them in the situation to lead beginners. So we have once a month these workshops where women that can already follow and that have some tango language or a lot, we teach them to lead, but they lead tangueras that already dance. So it's a very, very, very rich workshop. And we have a great time between women. You know, women, like in ancestral times, we have worked, not worked, like celebrated and worked in circles, in tribes. Like women feel good doing things together. And these get-togethers work really well. We not only dance, we just put ideas together, discuss things, what happened in the milonga, where are we going to the next milonga, shoes we're wearing, um, this or this other tanguero we like or we don't like, share a coffee together. We always bring a cake or something. It's like a great time, and it should stay so.
yes, yes. So I've seen this, and it's called Chicas al Volante.
Chicas al volante,
So
driver.
it's like, yeah, the driving, the steering wheel, right?
Exactly. Put yourself on the steering wheel of your dance. And
Ah, okay,
I have to say, we tried the same thing for men, but it wasn't successful.
okay.
It was called chicos copilotos,
Ah,
chicos on the side seat, but it wasn't successful, not yet. But well, we are going to keep trying.
so what happened? You didn't get enough people to join, man?
We did it once or twice, and it wasn't working.
Okay.
So the new people didn't join. The only people that joined were the people that were already in class with Enrique. So
Ah.
there was no point, not yet, at least.
So I guess in some ways you're actually doing something that's quite like innovating in tango, but you're actually in a place where, like in Spain, in a place where some things seem to be even more traditional than in other European countries. So it's harder to get, for example, to get men to join. I mean, that's I guess that's what I'm hearing from this. I'm not sure if that's totally correct, but
I mean, you
uh,
have to know Spain is contradictory. People think we are the most traditional place in Europe, but we are not. It was one of the first countries, for example, that allowed gay couples to marry, for example. People don't know that, and we have mm, one of the bigger one of the biggest gay communities, open community in Europe. But somehow tango is not getting to, is still in traditional sectors of the society. I think, I don't know. I mean, maybe because tango costs money, and these sections of the society that are maybe more traditional are the ones that can pay the classes and the milongas and the encuentros. And maybe that's one of the possibilities. So it's difficult, for example, to find a place to dance in the street where it's for free. Tango needs a certain bottom, a certain floor. For example, swing, you can dance swing in almost any place. There are many swing meetings during the week in Malaga in the open air. But for tango, you need some conditions. It's more difficult. You need to rent a place or find a place. So you need money for that, and then you need to ask for money to the participants.
So what are the...
there?
Spain seems to be the perfect country for open air tango. So
I know, but it's not that easy.
but what is the problem? Like it's hard to rent a space, or
no, it's hard to find. There are no places to rent because public space you cannot rent.
no.
Public space is you have to ask for the permission of the town hall, and if you ask for the permission of the town hall, they give you the permission, but not for every week or for the day. We've done such things in the harbor, for example, twice, and in other places, but if you do that, you are also making competition with yourself. If you want to live from tango and you have your space where you make a milonga every week and you then do something for free, because if you do it in the public space, it has to be for free, then you are making competition with yourself.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yes.
And on the other side, if you are doing something in the public space, you cannot offer drinks or restrooms, or if you dance tango, you have to take care of your knees, for example. And the floor in the public spaces is not always the best, especially for the age sector we are dealing with.
Yeah.
So many
difficult. Yeah. So how is your double role community developed?
It's not big, I have to say, but we get more and more people, and we are getting in the last time like couples, young couples that are very excited about the idea of sharing the roles, and this is very exciting for us. Like young couples, and I say young for tango, you have to understand 35, 40.
Sure, yeah.
Like tango young.
Yeah.
No 20s, no.
Okay.
And people that are really excited to come and to do something that they can do together and share the roles and have this kind of fun. And when people come without prejudices, they get into double role without any problem, and they start dancing that and they continue. Then for them it's like growing up bilingual. Like you don't ask yourself why can you speak English. If you for example, if you learn English with Spanish when you are a child, you just know two languages.
Yes.
That's it. With tango it's the same. If the first day your teacher say, okay, this is tango language, and you just dance it, you are not putting a border to a person. This was my feeling when I was learning. They were saying, this is not for you. This is for the men.
Yeah.
This is not for you. And just because I had a certain thing between my legs, that's the worst.
Yeah, if you come to think of it, doesn't really make that much sense that it's so
it doesn't make any sense.
So strict, so that the borders between these categories are so incredibly not flexible, right? Unflexible. It's just,
I mean, role related to gender is something that shouldn't be happening nowadays in the society we live in. I don't get it. And I didn't say that before when you asked me about the encuentros, is the fact that women need a man register. Like you just need a person with a certain thing between the legs. It doesn't matter if this person dances. And if you're a woman and you say you lead, you have to really demonstrate that you can do it. But a man, just by being a man, can register. This is very unfair, very unfair. Especially when you think that the tango business is sustained by women at the moment. Women buy shoes, clothes, take classes, travel. Women take the most private classes, group classes. I mean, it's very unfair. And you have to think about patriarchy. People are going to say, oh, Paula already talking about patriarchy, but I have to say it because it is it is very unfair. I don't go to encuentros or to festivals that don't accept women as leaders, or where women have to register in couples. And that's why I love so much the Total in Tango, Ludo and Julia. I think this is the best.
Because there's also a connection between you guys, right? Like because their philosophy, I've interviewed them, and for the people who don't know, their philosophy is that they want to bring their events to local communities so that an exchange also happens between other communities who have double role dancers like elsewhere in the world, and then they come to a certain place. So have you worked have you collaborated in that way?
Yeah, they were in Nerja before the pandemic, and Enrique was teaching stretching in that encuentro, in that festival. And then last year they were again in Nerja, and we were the guest teachers for that Total in Tango in Nerja. And I was also DJing in that Total in Tango. It was great. We loved it. And we have also been to Toulouse, to another Total in Tango in Toulouse, and the energy is magnificent. It's great. And we took our students to the Total in Tango, and they just loved it. Because especially women, they were used to the normal festivals where they struggle to dance.
Yes.
And in Total in Tango, you dance all the time. It's not traditional. They say they want you to dance your tango, and it might not be traditional. It's not normative, it's not traditional, but it is. It has a ronda, it's respectful. They play tangos from the 30s to today, and the energy is beautiful. And I think it's really what the society and the tango community needs nowadays. Really, they are coming to Granada.
Okay.
In the end of November.
Yes.
It's not us this time, it's another teacher. But
okay.
Doesn't matter.
No. So will you be there?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, then I'll meet you there. So that's
Are
good.
you coming?
Yes.
No, great.
Yes.
Yeah, we are going, and we are bringing some of our students.
Oh, that's cool, and I can also meet them. So
yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's like there was a lot of like interesting topics we talked about today, and I love that you're doing this all this double role stuff, and I love that you can still you can have that freedom, but you can still have a good ronda, right? Because that's like in our communities, for example, in some of our local communities here in the Netherlands, or historically you would see that if there were more like open dancers, then the mess would the floor would really become chaotic and a mess. But I think it just depends on like how you teach these people. Like you can still dance open but be respectful to others. So it's all about like how are you instructing people to dance. And I totally believe that at some point, maybe for example there were encuentros. One of the reasons why there were encuentros is because people wanted to have like more social dance floors. But I guess like it's not mutually exclusive. So that's what I'm trying to say.
I think the good ronda or the bad or the chaotic ronda has to do with ego. The chaos comes when you want to do whatever you want to do despite the other people. Like if you learn that you have your space, and that you have to stop, and that you have to respect the person that you have in front of you, and when you teach your students that they never should go in the center, never ever, it works.
Okay.
Like you teach your students the center is chaos, is hell. They go there, and it's not possible to go back to the normal, organized, pleasant ronda. So they have to learn to stay in the normal ronda. We usually have only one ronda because our milonga is small, and some people go to the center, to the chaos. So we teach our students not to go there, because this is chaos. This place, you go there, is like a black hole. You never know if you're coming back to the outside. So it works. They should stay, and they should stop when the person in front of them stops. Do something in the place. That's it.
Yes. So, is there anything else you would like to say about your school or double roll tango that we have not covered yet?
I think because my husband has just entered the
Okay.
room. You want to say hello to him?
Yes, yes, sure.
Because I think it's fair.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So this is Enrique, the
Hi.
founder of La Llave del Tango.
Yes, it's funny. Like we've talked a lot about you.
Yeah.
And,
I hear something.
yes, and I guess I'm feeling right now. Maybe I should have invited you as well, in the first place. But yeah, I'm sorry about that.
My English is not so good than your English, so
Okay,
I
okay,
understand
okay.
the 80% of what you say.
Okay,
So,
okay. Yeah, I understand that it can be more difficult to say something in return. Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
Yes. Yes,
So
but
that's why I'm the communication manager of the
okay, okay,
of
that's
the
cool. Yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
It's easy to hear, but it's difficult to me to say something about.
I mean, he
Yes.
can teach in English, and he does.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
When it comes to an interview or to writing something in English, then I do it. But I think
Okay, okay.
that the people know him.
Yeah.
Many people know him already. But
Okay, okay. But it's nice to get to see the face behind
Yeah.
the whole
well,
philosophy and the whole La
Yeah.
Llave del Tango thing.
yes, I
Yes.
think it's really cool.
I try to say something when you the after antes after
Before.
we and I teaching the people how to do when the circle don't moving. We teach tools to do what in this time, because if you stop to dance, but stopping tango is not be quiet. You do something. So we teach tools to do in this moment.
He's referring to the milonga. What happens
Yes.
with the ronda?
Yes, because it can be really frustrating if people don't move. But maybe you should learn indeed to like it's a coping method if you yeah.
Actually, it's a thing. People, especially beginners, they want to do things all the time.
And it's not.
And especially because they learn figures and they want to do figures all the time. And in order to get into the figures, they need to make a couple of steps because the tango is taught in that way. So they need to make a couple of steps and then they can go into the figure. And since they can't, because the couple in front of them stops, they need to go in the center.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons we don't teach figures at all.
Okay.
We use them, but we don't teach them like one step backwards, one step in the side, two steps forward, and then you go in the giro, or then you go in the sacada.
No. I don't know what they say before that. I teach the posture, then I teach the tools. Is one tool is walking, the other tool, primary tool is do a turn. If you mix both things, everything in tango is you will make. So okay, the figure is part of this, but it's not the only things that you can do with a walk and a turn. I don't know.
Yes. No, it's very clear. Yeah. So I particularly love two things that you that are about you that we talked about in this interview. Like one thing is the doing stretching. I think that's a really good method. I wish I had something like that more locally here, but it's hard to find.
When we meet in Granada, you can take
okay, yes. Okay,
yeah,
sure, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The people come to a class of tango with the body that they have. So sometimes the problem is not the tango or the teacher or not. It's the body you can come to the class. So in the classes, sometimes we working, stretching the arm, the chest, because the only way to embrace if you can embrace anyone and nothing more.
So the key to a turn sometimes is that the range of movement of your shoulder is open enough. If you're here, you cannot open here, you cannot go into a turn.
No.
It doesn't matter how much you try. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And I also thought it was really cool that you were already dancing as a follower very long before anyone was,
early 2000s.
Yeah, that's
all my life, when I started, when I had 21 years old, thinking that the embrace is an entity. It's not a man who lead or a woman to follow. For me, in the very beginning, is difficult to put this, the way to sing tango, like my teacher, in my way to what I feel when I embrace anyone, not just only a woman, because I love women, yes, but embrace a person. So it's difficult to me thinking that I embrace someone and the other person just only do what I say. It's a waste.
Yes, because you want it to be an interaction.
Yes, as an adult, you embrace anyone because you wish that. No one force you to embrace anyone. So it's something that two adult person allow and wish together. So the synergy that you bring to the embrace is because of two persons, two stories, two different tone muscle, two different way to see the life. Everything is different. So it's difficult to thinking that the other person just only follow me. Follow me what?
Yes. Yes.
My basic English.
But
you wanna click it.
yes. No, I like it. So it can be very restrictive for guys that they are only supposed to lead and they never get to follow.
And it's boring.
Yeah, it feels boring to me. So that's why
it's very boring.
Yeah.
And it's boring, and for me it's cruelty for myself, because if I embrace anyone, I want that the other person give to me. Really want. So if I don't allow the possibility that the other person give me nothing because I lead, is a waste. All the thing, the way to the society of my country, because Argentina is very patriarchal. The way to the men see the woman and see the tango is a waste in too many ways. And my country and my way to see the things is the modelo a seguir,
the model to follow.
The model to follow, and other societies like Europe, that the women have more rights, see these things like something not fixed, like a circle in a square.
Yes.
Yeah, try to put a woman that already is a mother, runs a house, maybe a company. Try to put her in a chair and wait and tell her to wait for a man that comes.
Why?
To ask her to dance. No, and unless a man comes and asks you, you cannot dance. I say, what? I've paid for classes. I bought the shoes. Yeah. I made myself pretty, and I have to sit here and then a man come and ask me? No.
And in the most of the ways, this woman dance better than this man.
Yeah.
And in the other hand, why me? Because I have something in my legs. I do all the show. I see the woman that I watch. I go to cabeceo. I sit in the chair like you, and you invite to me. But this privilege is the way. Is the patriarchal way to see life.
Like, I'm always amazed that this way of interaction survives in tango when it doesn't survive in other aspects, in most aspects of society. From the intimacy in bed to the normal interactions in the street, you don't see this patriarchy anymore, and you see it in tango. And I'm amazed by that women and men accept some things that they wouldn't accept outside the tango world.
Yes.
About that. I see women and men accepting things that they wouldn't accept outside a milonga or a tango class. And
Yes.
it's possible.
Now, that's why earlier this year I decided that I would really want to become like a very like serious follower, because I've done it in the past when I was a beginner. I did it in Buenos Aires when I was a beginner. It was quite normal for me to follow, but I never really really took that decision that I want to, because it was also difficult. Like, who are you going to dance with? But nowadays there are way more like women who lead, and I try to encourage them as well. And I like it when they can give me something back. And then I also enjoy leading more, even I'm leading with women who do not lead. If I dance a tanda with them after I dance a tanda that is double roll, then I enjoy the leading more, because I have gotten the other.
Sure.
Someone gave me something that to receive. I was able to receive something from someone else, and now I can also give it back to other people, because I usually I have a higher leading level than most women I know, but that's just because they have been following most of the time and I've been leading most of the time.
Exactly.
But it's okay. Like, if I follow, and if I follow a woman who's a beginner, I can often still just enjoy it, because I just like being the follower. And why not, right? Like, some people probably think that I'm gay just because I'm doing this, but I don't care. Let them think what they think, right? But I notice already a difference. For example, I talked about this with another guy here who follows, and he said, like, about 10 years ago, like, guys would look at you if you danced with a man. They would look at you like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I don't like it. Like, they were really like. But nowadays they've kind of like it becomes normal for them. They're not surprised to see it. So that's progress.
Sure. And it takes a lot of for men that follow. It takes a lot of working about their masculinity, because
Yes.
it's vulnerable. I mean, they are putting themselves in a vulnerable place. I mean, the other day someone made a joke that has a lot of truth in it. Someone said, "I don't want to dance with women that lead, because they are going to judge me, because they can also lead. Like, they are going to judge my leading."
Yes.
And we laughed because it was a joke. It was meant as a joke, but it has a lot of truth in it, and it attacks a privilege that has been there forever. And I know some people go to tango exactly because this is a place where this privilege and this patriarchy still lives.
Okay.
And I think this is appealing to some kind of people. One man told me, we had a celebration, our 8-year celebration of the anniversary, and a guy came to me and said to me, "You haven't even put your heels," because I was the whole night with my flats, because I was DJing, serving drinks, going around.
And don't want you.
And I don't want. But he told me at the end, "You haven't even put on your heels." And I was like, "What?" This is what you have to tell me about.
Yeah.
So some people really want this patriarchy, and this privilege is there because some people want it to survive.
Yes.
But there are also many people that don't want it to survive. And some men want to embrace and explore also this vulnerability that is usually linked with the feminine role or personality or this thing.
Yes, it's an education. Something that the most beautiful thing that the men in Argentina say to me in my beginner when I start to dance with another man is puto. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, it means faggot.
See, it's the most beautiful thing, because no, Kike, no, men, no, dance with men, no. Why not? Have 2 arms, have 2 legs, why not? Yes, it's because they feel fear about changing things.
Yes.
These men dance with, there are men who have years to dance and go to take the very beginners, beautiful woman to dance, because have privilege with that. Not dancing with the same age women that they dance like them. Use the beginner, because use the tango as
a power tool.
A power tool to ligar, I don't know, flirt,
to flirt.
To flirt. Yes. So don't go to dance. Dance is something in the middle to have some power. In life, normally a person who have 65 or 70 years old normally don't. Yes, normally. It's not normally. It's okay. Normally, don't embrace women who have 20 years old, but in tango they can. And yes. So it's
which women in their 20s would allow a 7-year-old man to embrace them?
No,
it's not going to happen.
See, it's just only
and you see something. Sometimes you see these men teaching them in the milongas, and
very bad. I
cannot see that. And they accept, these women accept it because they think this is the way it should be. But and I'm very happy dancing with older men. It's not about like that.
Yes, I'm 10 years old.
Okay.
It's about men that use this privilege, this power. And they want this system to survive and don't want anything about it to change.
These men dance with young women, but don't dance with women of his own age. And this is bad, because I dance with anybody, younger, fat skin, black, white, with Martian, with the earth. I dance with persons.
Yes.
Any person. But this is me. And my way to teach is the way to think in life. And embrace is an embrace. It's not a power to a role of power. The double role give to two persons the same ability, a skill to give information and use this information for pleasure. Because the only way to you two adult person embrace, because in the most of the case is some kind of pleasure of friend, friend embrace, a pleasure of a couple, love embrace, a lover. I don't know how to say that in English.
No, but this has a point. I mean, you go to a tango embrace because you want, because you wish to, you agree to, you go to this, and sometimes this embrace that should be a dialogue becomes a domination.
Yes.
Like someone dominating the other. And this could be okay. I mean, sometimes why not? Also in intimacy, it's also a way that could bring pleasure, but it doesn't have to be that way all the time. You don't have to accept that as the rule. It doesn't have to. Like a place you go for pleasure, it doesn't have to become a way of domination. Like, as I told you before, I have to go to a figure that causes me pain, like a volcada, just because a man wants me to go there. I don't see that.
No.
A t-shirt with that. I don't do volcadas. I always make a joke with that. So don't invite me to a volcada if we dance together.
I
don't invite him to do a volcada.
Okay, he can do it. Okay. I cannot even lead volcada, so it's
that's the problem. Many people cannot. I cannot even.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. Well, thank you for the really interesting interview. And unfortunately, like, we have long passed the time limit, so
I know.
I think it was like a really interesting and original interview, and I'm always looking for that. Like, when I really feel like I'm talking about things I have not talked about yet, and I've done a lot of interviews, so it's always good to find interesting topics, even though tango is of course full of interesting things to discuss. But I think you guys are like really you have like a really original profile in tango and a lot of really original things to say. So it was fun to talk to you. And well, I will see you in Granada then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So
I cabeceo,
Yeah. Yes.
No, I'm not cabeceo. I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to dance with me, just say no.
Okay.
I don't asking. I cabeceo. No, you say me no.
Yes. Yeah.
I force.
I'm looking forward to the freedom that everyone in That's what Ludo said. Like everyone in the room can be a potential dance partner.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. Once you experience that, you don't want anything else.
Yeah.
You get addicted, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
imagine, like Ludo says, potential dancers all over, men and
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter your level. Like people don't feel ashamed if they cannot really follow or lead.
The level is important because don't care. When I invite you to an embrace, not to never asking, oh, hello, what are your level? Never asking like that. You want to dance?
Do you want to know the winning lead he used when he asked me to dance for the very first time?
Yes, sure.
I conquered with that.
He conquered me with that. I married him some years after, but that night,
the winning prize.
I mean, I was a foreigner. He couldn't do cabeceo with me because I had no idea what cabeceo was. So he had to come to my table to ask me. So he came and asked, do you want to dance? And I was terrified. I was like, but I cannot dance. And he said, I didn't ask if you can dance. I asked if you wanted to dance.
Okay, yeah.
Winning.
Yeah.
Total winner.
Smart, yeah.
You don't ask to that person because the idea of an embrace as an adult person, an embrace is an add things. So the level is the both person levels add and nothing more. An embrace is a gift. When you do that, you don't do this, you don't that. You come and both person come to the embrace. So it's something that both person want.
Yeah, one thing that he told me once was, if you have 100 classes and I have 2 classes, if we dance together, we have 102 classes together.
Okay.
It's not that I dance better when I dance with you. No. You dance very well, I dance not that well, and together we make a balance.
Yes, like any embrace.
Yes.
Sorry, we're going again into
yeah, sure, but that's
we're already summing up.
Yeah.
We feel really comfortable talking to you. It's a really nice conversation.
Yes. I love it too. Yeah. But for sometimes, like you said about the vocadas, that you get some back pain. Yeah, but I have, like, with some women who have been dancing for a very long time but haven't really taken a lot of lessons. I don't like dancing with them because they, for example, they hurt my back, or so it's still difficult, right? No, but like with not with vocadas, I mean, but with anything I dance with them. I don't like dancing with some women, even though I like them personally, but I feel like I need to push them, or they hurt my knees, or they hurt my back, and then like it's
it happens both ways. I just said my example, but I know for many things. Or some women that take your hand like this and things like that, or a woman here, and you can even see the pista.
Volcadas is a figure that they come to tango because it's come from show. So so the person who do a show have training and bodies to do that. Then they are extrapolar and put in the dance floor of milongas in Buenos Aires, as it's very new. They don't know how 50 years ago. It's something new because the shows of tango is something new in the culture of Buenos Aires. So the people start to do volcadas because it's something that you see in a show, but
and the problem is people get carried away because I can do a volcada. If you invite me to a volcada, I go. And then if a milonguero sees that I can go to a volcada, they invite you to the second volcada. And the second is even worse because you are not well situated. And then it has happened to me that even the third volcada comes, and then it's disaster. Because we are not prepared. Like we don't have the bodies for 3 volcadas in a row. It's impossible.
No. Yes,
so I have a lot of information to give to you, but
you have to do an interview to him.
Yes.
In Granada with some beer in between.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
My English is become better when
comes better with a beer.
Okay. Yes. Well, thank you for the interview today. So, like I said, it was really interesting to talk to you, and yeah, I really hope to. Well, I want to say I hope to meet you soon, but I will meet you soon in a few months. So I'm looking forward to that and to dance, and maybe I'll like with this interview today, I will get new like realizations just from meeting you and talking to you. Like for example, this interview was already like it gives me some new perspectives, and I like that about interviewing, that I learn new things. So that's very important.
And I think it would be really interesting if in Granada you get to talk to our students.
Yes.
And I think that would be a nice thing.
Yeah.
Like not only with us, but with the people that have been learning with us for years, or new ones that are coming to Granada.
Begoña can speak English, but
I can translate.
Okay, but Pablo is the other student. He speaks Deutsch and
German and English.
Okay. Well, thank you, and see you soon.
See you soon. Thank you very much for having us, Lucas. It was a pleasure.
Besitos,
Bye-bye.
besitos.
Besitos.